Are we okay? We're going to fucking... We've got to do the fucking shit that we for fucking drug abuse. No! Are you listening?
Sean here, and today we're going to talk about Lorne's therapist and what it must be like and what he actually thinks is going on. I was making his denial video when this came up in my head so many times I lost count. Lorne thinks his therapist, again, is there to help him. It's there to get him better, to help him understand why mac and cheese and getting used for money was the catalyst for him to diddle a kid. But I can assure you, what that therapist was wanting to scream at him, and some of you were as well, you're telling me that if you don't get what you want, it's going to make you go out and be a predator. To go out and try to diddle a kid because you didn't get what you want. Do you remember, and I know you do because I recently talked about it, when he told Casey, the reason he told Dan her childhood abuse secret is because she was cheating on him with Dan. So his reasoning and logic, as I've said before, would be, I beat you, I was screaming at you because of something you did. I know she was telling him, and this was one of the first videos I made, that the reason he couldn't say no was dealing with giving away money, doing things for people when they ask, and things that maybe put him in a bad financial situation. I cannot fault him for helping his siblings, if that's really what happened, but we know what happened is they mentioned it. Lorne tried to buy their love. Please pay attention to me. Would you please finally like me? And of course, it didn't work. I have stated in the past that I think his siblings just can't stand him. That his own mother obviously can't stand him. He never had any friends. Before I go on, I want to tell you a story that's kind of relevant to this. So I was talking to Hank, and I got many stories. But one of the stories I got was really creepy. Hank has a sister, the same age as Mr. Penis. One night, his sister kept waking up. She kept hearing noises, and this was outside the window. And she would get up and check, and nobody would be there. She went and got Hank, and Hank came out there, and as soon as Hank came up to the window, this head popped up. This little psycho kid, his head popped up, and he took off running, and it was Lorne Armstrong. Come to find out later, when Lorne was confronted by Hank, and we know Lorne instantly went full beta, he was crying and said he went over there. He was just trying to make sure she was safe because he found out a guy at school was actually stalking her. What does this sound like? It was one of the first stages in Lorne Armstrong's predator career, his long, storied predator career. I know his therapist was listening to all of these bullcrap stories he must have been weaving, that he left this out. He left this story out, and it was longer coming from Hank, but for time purposes, I'm going to keep it at that. The problem with being a therapist is that your job is, it's like being a prison chaplain. When a guy's on death row and he's moved over to the death house, a chaplain's main role is to become that therapist, that spiritual therapist, to listen and listen again and even more listening. This guy is about to die, and you're there to hear his last confessions, to help him prepare. Just like Lorne in his therapist session, she's there to help him by listening again, and to help him prepare for the outside world. He's not prepared, and he hasn't been prepared since he got busted. And we know he definitely wasn't prepared before that, because he didn't even have a therapist. A lot of those murderers, almost all of them, find God in some way. When mortals won't forgive you, you find a higher power. when criminals, they don't have a future. They know when they get out, there's nothing waiting for them. And they know they're screw-ups. So what do? They find God. And when they get out, they've turned their life around and they want to be a prophet. They want to be some kind of preacher. Michael Patterson, the lieutenant, lieutenant, the one that got half tasered in Bowling Green. He is now a screaming, reborn evangelist. I think I said in another video, he's up there by Big Butter Jesus that was hit by a lightning strike that melted down. This gigantic, obnoxious touchdown Jesus with his hands up in the air. I believe they have something now, it's just not as obnoxious. I think that's where he goes to church. It's in Ohio. But I have to say this. I've seen it too many times. You get these preachers, ministers that are ex-cons, and suddenly they're the greatest people in the world. And some of them really did turn their life around, and religion helped them. But a lot of them, they just find, because they need some kind of forgiveness. So why am I bringing that up? It's because Lorne didn't even jump on that. It would be an easy way for him to say, I'm forgiven, I'm back in the good graces of everybody, let's move on. But instead, he went into full denial. He just blocked it out, and he didn't want to talk about it. And what he did want to talk about had nothing to do. We have seen it so many times where he's in a call. Like last night, Clark Vader maybe. I think I was in Clark Vader, Sunday with Clark. There was a call with Ramona, and she's talking about something, and just out of the blue, Lorne goes, Emma, because he loves to ask Ramona how she met Emma over and over again. He has nothing to talk about. So he goes back to the same points. Well, he's asking her about Emma, and then he starts talking for no reason about Emma's fascination with the number 8. And again, that we've heard him say many times, she loves octopus and she loves spiders. For some reason, that makes somebody evil. I couldn't reason it out. So I thought, okay, from a therapist standpoint, what could he possibly be talking about? It's just something he latched onto, that he convinced himself. He looks for a reason in everything, but a reason that suits his needs. And he convinced himself that a woman who likes spiders must be some kind of venomous person with evil intentions, and her whole goal is to take Lorne down. If I could explain Ember to Lorne, what I would tell him was that her job, her goal, was to keep you away from real women, to expose the real you. And at first I think it was going to be a short catfish, let's expose this guy, he's a pedo and he deserves it. But as it got going, they saw the real Lorne Armstrong, and they couldn't stop because it was so morbidly fascinating. And Lorne, his real nature was being brought to the forefront. Ember / Winnie / everybody else, she brought out what his therapist never could. She didn't ask him to tell her. She got him to show her. Think about that. That is how you expose somebody. You don't get them to say it, because words are just words. But if, example, somebody commits a crime, they admit to it. That's not as strong as somebody commits a crime and they're on video committing that crime. Well, Lorne, we got him. He can't deny it. He could blame and blame and blame. He was caught on TV by NBC. He was caught on the phone by these catfish women. He was exposed. His therapist should have gotten a hold of that and said, Lorne, listen to this. Listen to these wrecking ball calls. You psycho. If I'm his therapist and my job is to listen, first off, they don't get paid a lot of money. These are people who want to make a difference. If you've ever seen the movie Joker, he's in there with a state-appointed therapist or a state-funded therapist. They are tired. They hear this all the time. Now, Lorne thinks that this woman who is taking less pay to try to make a difference in this world is looking at him as a patient. She's looking at him as a pedophile, a predator, someone who is a danger to society and contributes nothing, an alcoholic. But to Lorne, none of that matters. She cares about him, and she does as a person, as a human being. But it goes no further. She wants to fix this broken human being. But again, to him, she's there specifically for Lorne Lynn Armstrong to make him safer from the world. Think about that. A dude who got busted as a child predator thinks that a therapist is there to make the world safer for him. I don't get it. And as a therapist for these people, I'm not sure I could deal with it. I don't know what it would be like to talk to somebody like Lurch, or to talk to Bald Beaver Hunter, Meat Rocket, who was in complete denial. Yeah, I'm a data communications guy, Oh boy, Pluto! Jeff Stacy. It's a question. It's a question. If you were to wrap that up, R.A.P. I just don't get what his mentality is. If a judge said, Lorne, you're going to a court-appointed therapist, a state-appointed therapist, he would see it as if he was going to get the help himself. It would be like if you and we went to a psychologist and we were trying to cure ourselves. Maybe some people had some impure thoughts. They were unfaithful to their partner and they just wanted some help with it. Even churches have their own counselors. When my ex-wife and I were getting separated, we tried to go to one. But the problem was, when you're at that point, she wanted her own counselor. She didn't want to go to a joint one because he was I think she already had it in her mind. And again, I don't blame her. I hold no ill will. I should. But in her mind, she should hold all the ill will towards me. That's okay, because we've both gotten past it. So why did I bring that up? Because Lorne, again, holds ill will against the world, against his siblings. Lorne was dissed and shunned by his siblings, and that is what he told the therapist. What he didn't tell them was why they did what they did. You know my theories about his sister and Lorne's first sexual experiences and his views of his sister who had sex. He thinks she's a slut. Lorne is a virgin. He will always be a virgin. He can't even draw a woman's vagina correctly. I do think he woke up in bed drunk one night. Maybe he was kissing a girl. Disgusting as that may be. Ladies, think about Lorne Armstrong. He is available. Now imagine you're his therapist. You're not supposed to judge people off their looks, but you've got this child predator, this egomaniac, sitting in there telling you he's got so much to lose. And I told you, what he considers society is his teeny little world. So yeah, in his mind, he is a benefit to society, his society. But moving on, he's telling this therapist, I got so much to lose, and he's listing out 3 things, basic things. Like when he told Debbie, I serenade you, I give you the time, the attention you deserve. These are all things that Lorne chose to do. So with this therapist, what Lorne chooses to tell her, what Lorne chooses to agree to help the outside world be safer from him, he does about 1% of. When he talked about, I couldn't say no, we covered that. The issue was, he was telling the therapist about his siblings taking money, and she said, Lorne, you need to learn how to say no. So what did he hear? Again, the reason I diddled a kid was because I gave away money and I didn't get anything in return. I would put a good chunk of money down on a bet that they spend a lot of time talking about other people. Yeah, well, when she's telling him, Lorne, you need to do this. Yeah, well, my brother Roy, he does this, trying to divert from his own faults. And I believe that Lorne, if he found one of these women remotely attractive, he would be in love with them. He would be giving them his last name. He would be stalking them. He'd be going to extra therapy meetings or trying to, showing up. Hey, are you free? I just wanted to come down here. I needed to talk about something. Therapy to him is nothing more than a time to be the center of attention. And it's not going to work until he gets a male, a strong alpha male, who might even make him cry, make him exhibit some emotion. But I think Lorne would get angry, barge out of there, complain that his therapist was acting inappropriately, just like when Ramona's fake therapist was spitting truth at him and giving him good advice, and he just couldn't see it. He blocked it all out. Now, had that been a woman, just like Debbie, he probably would have thought, as I said, that she wanted to be with him. Those are my Monday thoughts. I love you guys, and I will see you in the next one.